David here with Figboot on Pens. Today I have for you a pen that is relatively new to the market, and it's from a manufacturer that's new to me. The name of the brand is Opus 88, and the pen is called the Koloro. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Opus 88 Koloro. I'm going to talk about what I care for and what I don't care for. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and then provide a writing sample. And stay tuned, because at the end of the review, I will let you know how you can enter a drawing to win this very pen, courtesy of Gold Spot Pens, who has generously provided this pen to me for review and then to give away to one of you. Opus 88 is a company based out of Taiwan. There were a couple of things I found out interesting in regard to how the company came about its name. The company started back in 1977 and did mostly OEM work for other well-known brands. In 2004, they were looking for an official brand name, and in looking at their design and manufacturing procedures, they felt that these, in a way, were likened to the creation of music. So they chose Opus as their brand name to relate to those musical elements. The 88 relates to the year the company was founded. But if you recall, I said it was founded in 1977. The thing is, Taiwan runs on a different calendar system than the rest of the world. The years in their calendar relate to the founding of the Republic of China in 1912, so 1977 was the year 88 under the Minghua calendar. I know that I'm butchering that in Mandarin, but I believe that's how it's pronounced, or somewhat close to that. So that is why it's called the Opus 88. The pen arrives in this box. On the box it says Opus 88 and then fine writing instruments. And then it has a logo on it, which is the Chinese symbols for the family name behind the brand, which is Su, HSU. I can pronounce that one. Inside, the box has a magnetic, or a lid with a magnetic catch on it. And inside there is an instruction manual, which is actually very important for this pen. The filling system is one you might not be that familiar with, so this will potentially come in handy. And then inside here, you can see that there is an eyedropper with the pen. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then here is the pen, the Opus 88 Koloro. This pen is available in a number of different colors. So Koloro means color in the language Esperanto. Esperanto is a constructed language, meaning that it was created by man, not by something that was developed over years. And it was created about 130 years ago, and that the purpose of the language was to have a language that was flexible and easy to learn, which could be used as a second language, kind of an international language, if you will, for people to use around the world so they could better communicate with each other while still retaining their own language and cultural identities. So while the wide use of Esperanto really never took off, there are a couple of million people in the world who speak the language. So, okay, that's enough of a etymology lesson for today. Let's take a closer look at this interesting pen. The Koloro is made from both clear acrylic and from ebonite. Let me hold it here so you can see that there's the clear acrylic parts, and then these other colors are the ebonite colors. At first, if you would have asked me, I would have just thought it was standard plastic. But once you've used the pen for a while, it becomes more apparent that it is ebonite. Ebonite can have a bit of warmth to it, which this material definitely has. Let's start here at the end. The end of the cap is slightly rounded, and the finial is the aforementioned ebonite. Then we have a band and a clip, which are all one piece. And here you can really tell that the ebonite has a bit of texture to it, which is a nice detail. Then we have the clip. It has a small beaded pattern down each side that gives it a bit of a non-traditional look. It functions well in thinner pockets or shirts like these, as well as in thicker pen cases. We have another piece of ebonite here, or actually here, we have another piece of ebonite here, and then we have the clear opaque acrylic. Now, the acrylic on this model is a dark blue-green. The material isn't fully transparent, so when the pen is capped, you can kind of see the distinctive shadow of the nib, but it isn't a crystal clear window. The end of the cap has another piece of ebonite, and there is no cap band per se, but there is but it is engraved with the company name Opus 88. There is an angled step down to the barrel, and the acrylic is straight for maybe about an inch, and then it slowly tapers down to a ring right here, which is part of the filling mechanism, and that then we have an ebonite piece here at the back, which is kind of a piston for the filling mechanism. And the very end of the barrel comes to a rounded point. The cap unscrews to reveal this number 5 medium Yovo nib. It's available in fine and medium and broad. I do find the nib on this pen to be pleasant. I wouldn't say it's spectacular, but it gets the job done. It has a fair amount of feedback and is decently smooth for a steel nib. I personally prefer a number 6 over a number 5, but I feel that the number 5 doesn't look out of proportion into the rest of this pen. And then here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is a bit on the thinner side. It is flared on the end here and then angles up to the threads, which I don't find to be sharp or uncomfortable. When I grip this pen, I do find myself resting on the threads a bit, so it's good that they don't feel like they're in the way. I was wondering if the looks of this pen would be improved if the section was actually ebonite to match the cap and then the end of the barrel. While there's no issue with the section, I just thought that might have added to the overall look of the pen. The Koloro does feel very comfortable in the hand, and it's plenty long enough for me to use unposted. The cap does post, and it posts securely, and I do find that it's light enough that I don't feel that it backweights the pen, which is nice. Okay, let's get to the filling system. This is a traditional Japanese style eyedropper. In order to fill the pen, what you do is you actually unscrew the section and then you use the eyedropper that's included to fill up the barrel. I will say, let me get this eyedropper. When you get this eyedropper, it comes like this, but you want to make sure that you extend the glass barrel so you can actually use it. If you tried using it when it's in here in that state, you're going to have a difficult time. But you extend that, and then you could use the eyedropper. If you take a look here at the end of the barrel, you can see the end of the piston when it's twisted down. This prevents the ink in the barrel from entering the forward chamber. I found that you might want to use potentially a syringe to fill this pen, mainly because you'll have a bit more control. When you're using the eyedropper, the end of the eyedropper here is a bit large, and you're kind of pouring it over the end of the piston. With a syringe, you can kind of simply inject the ink to the side of it, thus avoiding any potential to make a mess. But that's really not a big deal. Speaking of messes, it was easy for me to forget that this pen was eyedroppered, especially since you really can't see the ink in there. Maybe in different models, the ink is a little more prevalent, but with this dark blue, you can see it swashing around there if you hold it up to the light, but it's not super obvious. And that, I hadn't used this pen that much, and I had forgotten what ink I had put in it, so I absentmindedly unscrewed the section and proceeded to dump the ink all over my hand and my desk. Fortunately, the mess was contained, but I did learn my lesson. I will no longer forget that this is an eyedropper pen. I do find that it doesn't have an enormous ink capacity here in the forward chamber. When I'm using it throughout the day, and I have used this pen a lot, that it seems like I run out of ink once or twice a day, but that's very easy enough to rectify by simply opening up the back here, just like that, and then it lets in some ink, and then you simply close it, and you're good to go. And it's easy enough to do. And the overall ink capacity here is rather large. And then you're back in business. The Opus 88 Koloro retails for $93. It does come in a number of different colors and even an opaque demonstrator for a slightly higher price. I will admit that at first I really wasn't sure about the Koloro. I wasn't sure I felt about this transparent section of the cap and the overall look of the pen. It just wasn't something that just like thrilled me right off the bat, but I have used this pen quite a bit over the last few weeks, and the more that I use it, the more I like it. And the looks have really grown on me. It's unique. It's made of interesting materials, an interesting combination of materials, and it's well constructed. And it has a filling system that is typically found on significantly more expensive pens. And it performs very well. So in the end, there's a lot to like about this Opus 88 Koloro. I am going to miss this pen because it is being given away courtesy of the good folks at Gold Spot Pens. In regard to the giveaway, there's 2 ways that you can enter. First, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel here and enter by leaving a comment on this video here in YouTube. And then the second way for you to enter is to follow me on Instagram, where I am at Figboot11. And then you can leave a comment on my recent post showing a picture of this very pen. If you leave a comment in both places, you will be entered into the drawing twice. In regard to a comment topic, I do plan on doing another Q&A here soon, so let me know what questions you might have. They could be fountain or pen or stationery related or not. I'm game for just about any question. The topic is not a requirement, just a suggestion. Today is Saturday, March 17th, 2018, and you have until the end of day on Tuesday, the 20th of March to enter. At that time, I'll randomly select a winner from the combined YouTube and Instagram entries and contact you via the entry method of your winning entry. So, good luck. I think whoever will win will enjoy this pen. I am enjoying it myself and am actually seriously considering picking one of these up. So that tells you a little bit about it. If I get one for free and I'm giving it away and I want to get it back, then that's a sign of a pretty good pen. So, thanks go out again to Gold Spot Pens for providing this pen for review and for giveaway. There is a link below in the notes where you can find this pen on their site, and I do recommend checking it out. It's an interesting pen. So now it's time for some measurements, some size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Opus 88 Koloro. In regard to some other ebonite pens, here it is with a Wall Eversharp Deco Band. Here it is with a Sailor King of Pen Ebonite. And then here it is with a Carolina Pen Company Aiken. And then in regard to some other pens, here it is with a Diplomat Aero. Then here it is with a Platinum 3776 in the Chartreuse Blue. And then here it is with a TWSBI VAC 700. Something interesting in regard to TWSBI, we're going to be taking a trip to China later this summer, and that there's not a lot to do in regard to China in regard to fountain pens that I've found, but we will be visiting the Forbidden City, and there is a room in the Forbidden City that TWSBI is named after. So that's one of my goals, is I need to get a picture of the room in the Forbidden City that TWSBI is named after. So we'll see how successful I could be in that venture. So here we have the Opus 88 Koloro. This is a medium steel nib, and the ink that I'm using here today is KWZ Azure number 4. This is what the ink looks like. It's a nice deep blue. It's one of my favorite KWZ colors. It's a little bit darker than Konpeki, and then it's not quite as dark as well, or it's lighter than the Mont Blanc BMW blue, which is one of my more recent favorite blues that I have. But I like this KWZ Azure a great deal. This is what the bottle looks like. These are great bottles. That it has tons of ink at 60 milliliters, and then that's plenty wide and plenty deep, so you can get any pen that you own in here without any issue. So here we go with the rest of the writing sample. I said before that this medium steel nib is serviceable. I mean, you know, it does the job. I wouldn't say that it's brilliant or fantastic, but I really don't have any issues with it. It's really kind of middle of the road, that you can get a little bit of line variation out of here. And in regard to ink flow, it's a little bit on the dry side. And then in regard to reverse writing, well, I got a little material on there. I got a little paper on there. Let's try that again. It lays down an extra fine line. And then in regard to some fast writing, there's no issues whatsoever. So, as I mentioned before, the Opus 88 Koloro is a very interesting pen. It's really one that's won me over, and it's one that I very well might add to my collection after this one is gone, because I have a feeling I'm going to miss this one a bit. So, thanks go out again to Gold Spot Pens for providing this for review and for giveaway. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, and this pen could potentially be yours. So, until next time, we'll talk to you later.